Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your master of fun and wonder, your existential Mr. Rogers, Robert Meyer Burnett, with another video for the John Campea Show. Yes, sir, I'm filling in, answering questions John couldn't get to for his epic live stream. I'm here to pinch hit, fill in, as it were, shoot the puck, curl that last rock, whatever John needs, because he's a good Canadian kid, and I'm here to help him. So once again, let me just start from the beginning. This is part 2, ladies and gentlemen, part 2. Dimsum05 sends in a tip and says, I'm telling you, dude, go to Minecraft.net and download Minecraft. It's like Animal Crossing, but first person, almost unlimited crafting. You can almost build anything, farm, survive, etc. It's one of the few games that I've played for over 5 years. Well, Dim Sum, I think that's a great thing, but I don't know, man. I think you have to grow up with Minecraft. Maybe it's just me. Christian Borges sent in a super chat saying, John, from a Portuguese American to an Italian Canadian, you're a good man, my fellow Mediterranean friend. Boa sorte, buena fortuna. Is that like Bib Fortuna? And good luck. Nathan Taylor sends in a tip for $10. Adel Masters sends $6.52 in as a super chat. Hello, 1918 is one of my favorite films of last year, but still no digital release in the UK. Why? 1918, I didn't see that. Is that the sequel to 1917? Who knows? Swimmy tipped $7 and says, favorites so bad they're good movies? Troll 2, The Miami Connection, The Room, Demolition Man, and pretty much any Neil Breen flick. Wow, Demolition Man is there with Troll 2? I don't know, man. Lord Vanderkill sent in a super chat and says, I'm dying for a new Dracula film. Well, there's going to be there's a new Dracula TV show. They might make one. I think that would be cool. Gerardo Reyes sends in as I cough, a super chat. Hope this helps, John. If you might let me have some water. Hope this helps, John. Always listen to your show during work at my Smith's grocery store. Well, thank you, Gerardo. Hunter tips $10 and says, hey, John, do you think that Marvel will eventually want to integrate Daredevil into the MCU? Will it be the Charlie Cox version, or will Marvel not want to associate with Netflix MCU in any form? Love the work you're doing here, John. You know what, Hunter? I would assume that they would reboot Daredevil. Do something new, make it the MCU's Daredevil, make it their own. I think that's what they would do. Kevin Wendell Crumb sends in a tip. Thank you, Kevin Wendell Crumb. That's like a cool name. It's either a superhero name or a serial killer. Who knows? One or the other. Could be both. Russell Amador sends in a tip. Hey, John, I'm looking to do a Friday Scaries tonight for Good Friday. Any solid recommendations? We recently saw The Train to Busan, and that was a badass movie. Can't wait for a sequel later this year. As Community, we're kicking COVID's ass today. Well, let me tell you, Russell, it might be a little late and $1 short, but if you like Korean horror, watch a movie called The Wailing. Check it out. Get back to me. Mary Sadai sends in a tip and said, the Schmodown on ESPN? Surely it will be ESPN 8, the Ocho. Hey, man, if we can get the Schmodown anywhere on ESPN, I am so down. By the way, if you like the Schmodown, Burning Droogs, Faction of the Year, you'll see. JMeister25 sent in a super chat and says, best protagonist of the last decade. For me, probably Iron Man, and it's safe to say that Robert Downey Jr. is now Tony Stark. Laugh out loud. He probably is. But you know what? If he builds a real Iron suit, I think that'd be dope. Lazigo sends in a super chat and says, good job on this, John, and thanks for being a beacon of light in these dark times. Stay safe and say hi to Anne. By the way, tonight's movies, which I've never seen, Batteries Not Included and Parasite. Wow, what a double feature that was. Get back to us. What do you think of Batteries Not Included? I saw it 35 years ago, and I still wonder. Richard F. sends in a tip and says, thanks for all you do, and my prayers go out to the victims of the COVID-19 and their families. Yes, I agree. Mukbang Reviews sends in a super chat and says, you and R&B are the best. Love Aaron and Chris, too. Awesome. Thank you for that, Mukbang. Serge Vasiliou sends in a super chat and says, as the great Robert Meyer Burnett would say, people gotta eat. Yes, I would. God bless you all for helping out. To end on a quote from Loki, I assure you, brother, the sun will shine on us again. It will shine on us again. On us again. On us again. Bubble Guts tips $5. Insane Penguin 83 sent a great super chat, sending our support from Frankie and April. Well, Frankie and April, right back at you. Ryan Jacobs tips $5 and says, hey, John, keep up the good work. Speaking of King David, did you ever see NBC's TV show Kings? It only ran for one season, but I loved it. I loved it, too. It was pretty great. Todd Wiggins sends in a tip. Thank you, Todd. Didn't say anything, but thank you for the tip. Boosters the Name sent in a super chat. Favorite sports movies to watch during season in no order. Major League, Moneyball, The Program, Wildcats, Goon, Miracle, Blue Chips. William Friedkin, who directed The Exorcist, directed Blue Chips. Bull Durham, so good. Friday Night Lights, and Caddyshack. I'm all right. Stephen Perez sends in a super chat. Hope you get a good tax write-off for all of this. Laugh out loud. Christopher Mendez, I hope he does too, because he has to account for all this money and send it to charity. So it's work and charity, but it's a good thing for all. Christopher Mendez sends in a super chat and says, I met both you and Ann when you came to eat at the restaurant I work at Downtown Disney. You shook my hand and we talked movies. Class act, man. John is a class act. Good man. Like him. Yo, Adrian, tipped $20 and says, hey, John, great job. Give yourself a pat on the back for today and 2 thumbs up for the movie fan community. Well, thank you, Yo, Adrian. Jeremy Tishibasu? Yes, I think, what a cool name. Jeremy Tishibasu in whatever you want to star in, but I like that name. Sends in a super chat and says, also, when you say because as Palpatine. Anonymous sends in a nice tip. Thanks for doing this, John. You're awesome. Hosea the Host Slayer sends in a tip and says, sup, John? First time, long time fan from New Zealand, or as we like to say, NZ. Did you like the animated show from the Canadian studio called Reboot? Love season 2 and the character Enzo Matrix and Megabyte. A New Zealand movie you should watch is Once We're Warriors. So good. Lee Tamahori directed that. Really good. Other good New Zealand movies, Utu and The Quiet Earth, directed by Jeff Murphy. Jared McBride sent in a super chat and says, congrats on Ann's new job. I love Seattle, one of my favorite cities. Also mine since I was born there at the Swedish hospital and grew up there. Anonymous sends in a tip. Thank you, Anonymous. Andy J. Movies sent in a very nice super chat. Can't stay long, but wanted to chip in some toward the cause. Quick question, John. Do you watch Better Call Saul? I think he does. What a great show. Oh, my God. It's over tomorrow. What are we going to do? Nigel M. Or no, it's next week. It's next week? Is it next week that it's over? I think it's next week. I don't know. I'm not caught up. Anyway. With so many movies being delayed and moving towards the end of the year, do you think it's likely that Coming to America 2 will move to January 2021 and take advantage of the ML King weekend? Wow, that's an interesting idea. That's a really good idea. I'm sure we weren't the first people to think of it. Probably. Tyson Talks sends in a super chat and says, with you and Ann moving to Seattle, will we see Jeremy Johns on from time to time now? Well, I don't want him to take my job. I love Jeremy, though. Billy G sends in a very nice tip. Thank you, Billy G. Great job, John. Watch you every day from Vancouver. Thank you. And Jeremy Tishibasu comes back and sends in another super chat. I don't care what DC character WB makes as a movie as long as the story's great. But if they made a Kite Man film, I'd be first in line. Brizzle sends in a huge tip. Brizzle, thank you for that. That's very nice of you. Have you seen Gravity Falls? It's a Disney tune on Disney Plus with an ongoing mystery and comedy. I have not. Feels a bit like family-friendly Twin Peaks. Probably my favorite cartoon of all time. Really? Thanks for doing this, and it's a lot of fun. Gold Chains for Old Men. Duck-tective. I like that, Duck-tective. I want to look up that. I will watch that, Gravity Falls. Derek sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I've watched your video since 2013. I realize you can see what I'm reading, so I don't have to say that. You can see the tips. So, hey, John, I've watched your video since 2013. I've never sent in a question until now. I've noticed sports movies are rarely being made anymore. Do you know why that might be? I don't know. I think they have to have the right sports movie. It's hard to come up with a really great, inspiring sports story that we haven't seen already before. I don't know. Here's a cool one. Zrinko Oxmadzik. I don't know, but that's another cool name too. That's amazing. Sending love from King's Landing in Croatia. Wish you could come here one day. I'd love to know how to. Is it Zrinko Oxmadzik? I don't know, but it's an awesome name. Wish you could come here one day. Keep up the great work. You rock. Austin, a.k.a. John Hines, sends in a tip and says, if you invested $10,000 in Google's IPO and it opened at $85 a share, its worth is now more than $300,000 now. Oof. Here's $5 to the cause. Laugh out loud. I wish I had done that. Abel Arcano sends in a super chat and says, longtime fan of the John Campea Show and DC. We get few sources of hope in the Snyderverse, even from the Kents. Wonder Woman had truly uplifting, inspiring moments. How could our Snyderverse heroes have felt more heroic? I don't think they could have. Richard Karate sends in a super chat. Best Lawrence Fishburne acting performance. Ooh, that's a good one. Gosh, that's tough. He's done so many things. I like him as Morpheus, but maybe that. I mean, he's Morpheus, but he's done better performances. But that's the first thing that came to mind. Although you remember he was Larry Fishburne in Apocalypse Now when he was 14. Don't forget that. Cool Breeze sends in a super chat and says, thanks for consistently bringing good content. You make my workday go fast. Qasim Muhammad sent in a super chat. Qasim Muhammad sent in a second super chat. You go, Qasim Muhammad. Thank you very much. Jeffrey Mason sends in a tip and says, Lord of the Rings is by far my favorite trilogy. Which film out of the three is your favorite? Mine's Fellowship of the Ring. You know, Jeffrey, as you all know, I worked on the first two extended edition Blu-rays or DVDs at the time. I think Fellowship is mine too. I think it's my favorite. I mean, obviously Return of the King's epic and so is Two Towers, but Fellowship of the Ring brings you into that world. It's charming and then it gets scary. I love it all. I think it's great. Mr. Graham sends in a super chat and says, good afternoon, Mr. Filth. I always enjoy people helping other people, so I'm here to do my part as well. I'm not sure if you ever discussed it or maybe I just missed it. What happened to the studio? The studio, basically our studio, the studio that we used to do it from in Hollywood. Man, I'm losing it. In Hollywood, there was a cell phone tower on the roof, and the building was 1927 or something, and the cell phone tower was too heavy, and it crashed through the roof in the studio next to us, and there was insurance, and we had to get out of there. It was a bummer. I loved going to Hollywood. I miss it. Chris H. sends in a very, very, very nice tip. Thank you very much, Chris. Ended up catching COVID-19. Wow. Even the mild case, which I had, are no joke. I'm on the mend now, and your show helped me through that in the movie Stardust. Well, I'm glad to hear you're on the mend. I'm glad you like Stardust. I'm glad you're still with us. And does that mean you're immune? Can they use your blood plasma and help other people? How does that work? Justin Lopez sent in a super chat and said, I just wanted to donate and say thanks to you and Rob, hey, and everyone else for this show, or on this show, for being a distraction at this time. Well, I'm glad. Thank you very much. We like being a distraction. It's good. Being a distraction is good. As long as you're staying safe and you're happy and you're still smiling, I know I am. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, Ben Solo donates from the afterlife. That's funny. Justin sends in a tip for $10. Thank you. And Akbar sends in another tip. Devilman sent in a $19.99 super chat. Keep going strong. Keep going, John. Stay strong. Seeing all these donations raised my spirits. That's very cool. Big fan. Keep up the great work. Tamer says, big fan. Keep up the great work. You once posted a little thing on the movie blog about my 1-year Star Wars Lego photo project that is still such a positive memory around. Really? Stay safe and stay filthy. You know what? I'd love to see that. Go to my website at theburnetwork.net and put that Lego project up in the Imagination Connoisseur Gallery. I'd love to see it. Talusi Taluri sends in a super chat and says, thank you so much for doing this, John. A birthday shout out for my friend and your biggest fan would be much appreciated. His name is Sai. We love watching you. Stay safe. Well, I have to tell you, we can't do birthday shout-outs for people because if we did birthday shout-outs on the show, everybody would want a birthday shout-out. So if I were to say, happy birthday, Sai. I hope you have the greatest birthday you've ever had. I hope your next twirl around the sun is the best twirl around the sun you've ever had. And I really hope that the next year fills you with joy and wonder and spectacular movies, if we ever get movies back. So I just want to thank you and just thank you for being you. Have a happy birthday, Sai. I'm sorry, Talusi. I can't do it. I can't say happy birthday to your friend. I'm sorry. David tipped $5 and says, hi, John. Thanks for doing this. Question. Do you think Netflix should switch to a weekly release schedule starting on a big show like Stranger Things? Or would people be too upset on something that popular? You know what? We've talked about this a lot on the show. I think that they might. I've kind of enjoyed the anticipation. Devs, I've been watching Devs. The final episode is coming up, and it drops on Thursday. And I can't wait. And I've liked watching it every week, which is fantastic. Scott Bristow sends in a super chat. Obscure movies to check out. Hudson Hawk and Four Rooms. Guilty pleasures, I know, but I love them. Tarantino, Four Rooms. Come on. Hudson Hawk has the great Richard E. Grant in it. Everyone knows who watches John Campea how much I love Richard E. Grant. He's my boy. He's in Hudson Hawk. Ryan Platt sends in a super chat and says, a new report came out and said that no cops were called, and the guy on the video said they waited for the cops to come. The guy in the video lied. I don't know what video that is, but all right. The Zero Dingo sent in, did the Zero Dingo eat your baby? The Zero Dingo sent in a super chat and says, "Hey, John, would you consider recording yourself and uploading the next Netflix party onto the channel?" I don't know. I don't know if he would do that. I'll ask him. Raul Leon sent in a super chat and says, "The Harsh Truth sent a $50 super chat." Oh, that's not one super chat. Raul Leon sent in a super chat, and The Harsh Truth sent in a super chat. Thank you both. Oh, and then The Harsh Truth says, "My girlfriend and I have been very lucky and are both considered essential." You know what? You're essential to us. You always will be. Here's a few bucks to help. You're doing a great job. Best to you, Ann, and the entire crew at the John Campea Show. And the best to you and your girlfriend, Harsh Truth. I don't think there's any harsh truth in what you just did, so thank you very much. Darth Wayne sends in a tip. Wow, very nice tip. Thank you, Darth Wayne, for supporting the channel in that way and supporting this effort. And I think it's wonderful that you did that. Great thing you guys are doing here. Keep it up. Ukarao F. Cakespeare sent in a super chat and said, "Thinking of you guys in the U.S. during this time. God bless from Auckland, New Zealand. I love." So is that a Maori name? Maori name? It's you know what? I hate. Well, I can just say kia ora, mate. That's all I can say. God bless back at you, sir. Ben Sultan sent in a super chat. "It's cool what you guys are doing. I wish I could donate more, but the last check, I'm 19. Really? Are you? Hope not. Lucy tipped, very nice tip to Lucy. Thank you so much for that. That's so very nice. "Hi, John. My friend Sai's birthday is today. He's your biggest fan. He's directing a short film passion project. So some words of encouragement from you right now would mean the world to him. Also, what's your theory on the Baskin exotic Don Lewis case?" The Baskin exotic. You know what? I think she killed her husband, just so you know. I think so. That's what I think. And as for Sai's birthday, as you know, we can't say happy birthday to Sai. Happy birthday, Sai. I'm very excited it's your birthday. And some words of encouragement. Let me tell you, if you're directing a short film, first of all, it shows great optimism. It's always a huge effort to do something like that. There are going to be times when you're just going to want to give up. Don't. No matter what happens, finish the film. Even if you work on it a little bit every day, get it done. Get it done. And it'll be the most rewarding thing that you've done, I think. And if it turns out great and you can show it to people, even better. You're going to be very happy you did it. Diamond Dog's Puppy sends in a tip. "Watched the Netflix film Fractured last night. It was a solid film considering the usual dreadful slate of Netflix films. The ending was surprising and Sam Worthington was the best I've ever seen him. Not bad for a 90-minute time killer. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Thank you also for supporting this effort." Simon sent in a $1.99 super chat. "In 2022 alone, we're getting 4 MCU movies and 4 MCU shows and 3 movies. Let's hope. Let's hope. Get those people and making those movies again, man. I really want to see Eternals, and I really want to see the Multiverse of Madness. I really do." Lincoln Johnson sent in a super chat and says, "Hey, John. Looking forward to the Last of Us series. My only fear is that audiences might unrightfully compare it to Walking Dead. What are your thoughts?" I think, Lincoln, you've got a good point there. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to differentiate it, but I'm sure that that's going to be a big deal when they're making the show. I think they're going to have to make it different. I don't know how, but I think they will have to. Siam Boys 1988 sent in a super chat and says, "John, greetings from Thailand. You should do a Netflix party with Man of Steel 7 years later. It's still a masterpiece. Hope you bring Dan Murrell to be co-host someday, and I hope you guys are still safe." You know what? I think that's a good idea, actually. I love Dan Murrell, by the way. Recyclops sends in a tip. "Wouldn't comedic timing in film come down to what the director wants and not the actor's skill?" You know what? To be honest, having edited and directed comedy films, I would say it's a combination of both. You have to get great timing on the day, on the set. You have to get good timing. But how you put the movie together, too, how you edit the film, you can kill a joke if your editing is terrible. So I think it's both. It's a combination of both, Recyclops. Good question, though. Newman Studios sent in a super chat and says, "Hey, John, do you think the Alamo Drafthouse, my favorite chain, has a better chance of not going under during the pandemic?" That's a good question. I'm hoping that a lot of these places don't go under, but I think they're kind of a boutique outfit. I hope they can weather it. I think they can. Brett Gilson sends in a tip and says, "When will there be another episode of Best Movie, Worst Movie?" I don't know. We've got to get back on that. Now that the Olympics have been postponed a year, maybe Cody can get back here and we'll do some Best Movie, Worst Movie. What do you think? Also, you guys should do an episode of Best, Worst Quentin Tarantino films. Ooh, I like that idea. Tayana sends in a very nice tip. Partnered with doctors and scientists, but for every download, they will donate one meal. Oh, hang on. You know what? Hang on. I think I'm going the wrong way here. Tayana sends in a tip and says, "Hello, John. I'm one of your many fans from the Man of Steel days. You've always helped brighten my day when I'm in a dark place and make me feel not so alone. Have you seen the app How We Feel, the How We Feel project? It's by Pinterest CEO and employees, partnered with doctors and scientists, but for every download, they will donate one meal to Feeding America." Wow, that's really cool. I did not know that. Thank you for that, Tayana. I did not know that. John Smallberry sends in a tip. Omar sends in a tip and says, "Hey, John, I've been following you since 2013. You've been an inspiration, and at this point, one of my life goals is to meet you and simply shake your hand. P.S. Top 3 favorite movies are Terminator 2, Avatar, and The Departed. You're the best." You know what? I think John would shake your hand, and one day you will meet him. And I think that'll be a good day. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, "Hi, John. Hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. I wanted to say the best religious movie is The Exorcist. The movie is sold and mainly about the horror of a demon possessing a child. It's also about a man who regains faith and uses it to save her. The Exorcist is my favorite horror film of all time. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. When people ask me what it's about, I said it's about a man who's lost his faith in God, and in confronting a manifestation of the devil, he regains his faith and saves the soul of an innocent. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Thanks for that. Bring on the Sexy sends in a tip and says, "Hello from Florida." Well, hello to you, Sexy. Thanks for supporting the cause. Tater Tot sent in a super chat and says, "Okay, John, top 10 of 2019 finally. Marriage Story, The Farewell, Booksmart, The Irishman, Midsummer, Judy, Jojo Rabbit, The Joker, I Lost My Body or Parasite, and The Lighthouse." Whoo! Honorable mention, John Wick 3, Honey Boy, Peanut Butter Falcon, 1917, and Shazam. What a year for film. I agree. Interesting. I Lost My Body and Parasite for number 2. Quite interesting. I like that. Another Skywalker sends in a very nice super chat. "Keep pitching in, guys. Wherever you can share is super cool." Well, thank you, Another Skywalker. That was very generous. Joseph Loyacono sends in a tip. Thank you, Joseph. Holy Edge sends in a super chat. "Hi, John. Love the show. If you were made the next president of Lucasfilm, who would be your first director on the next Star Wars film, and on what topic?" Well, I'm not John, but let me tell you, I would hire David Fincher, and I would probably do a story of government intrigue set in the Star Wars universe. After the, I guess, defeat of Palpatine, whatever happens after Revenge of the Sith, I would like to do Revenge. Did I say Revenge of the Sith? I meant, what's it called? What's the last movie called? The Rise of Skywalker. I would do a movie about the court intrigue or whatever's going on, putting the government back together. A great government conspiracy movie. I think it'd be great with battles. Ben Elfman sends in a tip and says, "I love Picard and hope to see some more next-gen characters appear as guests in Season 2. Seeing Riker, Troy, and Data again was great." Ben, it was, but I didn't love Picard. I'll admit it right now. But I'm glad you liked it, and I hope Season 2 is much better. I hope I like it better. Jesse sends in a super chat. Why, thank you, Jesse. Ben Elman sends in a tip and says, "Thanks for putting this together, John. With Picard Season 1 now over, what are your thoughts on the season overall? And is there anything you hope to see in Season 2? Thanks, and keep up the great work." Honestly, I thought Picard was all over the place. I thought it was muddled. I really wanted to see the Borg integrated more into the storyline. And if they're doing a synth storyline about how there's a synth race out there bent on the destruction of solids, it's kind of like the Dominion, or solids, I say that because the Dominion from Deep Space Nine. I would just like to see a little bit more focused storytelling, and that the story focus more on Jean-Luc Picard. It seemed like not until the end did it become his story. Darms sends in a tip and says, "How exciting is Jeremy Johns to have you coming to the Emerald City?" He actually lives in Puyallup, just so you know. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's probably great. I love Jeremy Johns. He's the best. Congrats to you, and especially Anne. Well, thank you, Darms. Andrea Valentova sends in a super chat. Andrea Valentova. You sound like a secret spy, like in some great movie. I love when people have cool names. Andrea Valentova. I like that. It's great. "Hi, John. Have you ever heard about the game Siberia? One of my favorites. Great story." I have not. Jeremy Tishibasu is back and sends in a super chat. "Ever heard of Detroit Become Human? I think that's a video game that could work as a TV film series adaptation." I have heard of that game, but I don't know that game, so I will take your word for it. Mike P sends in a tip. All right. Thank you, Mike P. Imran Mir sends in a super chat. Thank you, Imran Mir. Jermaine King sent in a super chat. If you bought Google stock, you'd be a rich man and might not have to come to the U.S., meet Anne, and marry her. Butterfly effect. I don't know. Something tells me, knowing both of them, that I think they were destined to be together. They're a good couple. Passionately Indifferent sends in a tip and says, top U2 songs. Number 1. I'm going to go backwards. Can I go backwards? I guess I can't go backwards. Well, yeah, Mysterious Ways. Number 9, Sweetest Thing. Number 8, Pride in the Name of Love. Number 7, Angel of Harlem. Number 6, With or Without You. Number 5, One. Number 4, All I Want Is You. Number 3, Bad. Number 2, Where the Streets Have No Name. And number 1, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And I bet John can sing them all. Thank you for that, by the way. Keaton Carr 89 sends in a super chat and says, come on, John. Tommy and Dehan. Tommy and Dehan, ending thoughts. I don't know if I can answer that. John's going to have to answer that. Kieran sends in a tip and says, before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Such a badass quote. I love that scene, the elevator scene. It's so dope. Drew H sends in a super chat and says, did a triple feature of Game Night, Ready Player One, and Molly's Game. I see what you did there. Loved all three, but Molly's Game was by far my favorite. I really liked Molly's Game a lot. Really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Colin sends in a tip and says, if Stranger Things was a theatrical release into 3 movies instead of 3 seasons, do you think it would be a billion-dollar movie series? It might, but I don't think the first one would have been. Maybe the third one, but not the first one. Tiffany Hoffman sends in a super chat and says, Kiss, Marry, Kill. Night of the Living Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 28 Days. I would marry Night of the Living Dead, I would kiss Texas Chainsaw, and I would kill 28 Days later. Only because Night of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw are total classics. You can't get rid of them. Francisco Quiroz sends in a super chat and says, greetings from Miami. Just for the sake of helping, thanks for the opportunity to help while having a great time learning about the movie world. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Rob Cagle sends in a tip and says, greetings from Nashville. Have you ever seen the movie Nashville? Robert Altman's Nashville. Have you seen that? First time writing in. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thanks. And of course, stay filthy. I do want to stay filthy. I've been filthy since I'm, 12 maybe? 12. Richard Karate sends in another super chat. Have you heard that Rampage Jackson said if he stepped into the octagon with Brock Lesnar, they would destroy him? Do you agree that Rampage would win this fight if it happened? I can't speak to that. You know me, I know nothing about MMA. But you know what? Let's see. If Brock with... Wait, let me read that again. Have you heard that Rampage Jackson said if he stepped into the octagon with Brock Lesnar, he would destroy him? Do you agree that Rampage would win this fight if it happened? Well, you know what? His name is Rampage, and if your first name is Rampage and you're fighting a guy named Brock, I think Rampage wins. I have no reason for saying that other than the fact Rampage sounds cooler than Brock. Brock sounds like he's either your cousin or your sister's boyfriend that you only kind of like. Salil Chala sends in a super chat and says, longtime fan since the AMC days. Owe my movie and TV knowledge to you. Well, thank you for that. Not me, but John. I understand, but it's nice. Matthew Garrett sends in a $4.99 super chat and says, whoa, way to go, Hulk smashing hunger. Yes, I hunger. Joe Slade sends in a tip and says, finally got my family to watch The Nice Guys for the first time, and no surprise, they loved it. Russell Crowe punching that guy in the face with knuckle dusters at the start of the film might be one of my favorite character introductions ever. I really like Nice Guys. I don't know if it's as good as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but it's up there. Orlando Orego sends in a tip and says, hello, John. Thank you for this great cause, and we in the community support you in all that you do with your videos. Keep up the great work. Also, over under 20%, there will be a movie that crosses $1 billion in the box office in 2020. You know, we've been talking about that. I think now under 20%. I really do. I could be wrong. Mr. Hank Dunn sends in a super chat and says, I recommend Nightcrawler. No, not the superhero. The movie that should have given Gyllenhaal an Oscar. Nightcrawler is amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Handsome Rob sent in a super chat. Perhaps I sent myself one? No, I'm just kidding. I prefer practical effects of CGI because I prefer practical effects probably over CGI because CGI can sometimes pull you out of the story. You know what? To me, it's all about the design and execution of the shot. Whether it's practical or CG, it really depends how the shot is designed. Samuel Varg, Magic Edutainer, sent in a super chat and says, long time ago I was here. Hope you're doing good, John. I know the States have been hit harder than Scandinavia. Here's a super chat to support. Well, thank you all the way from Scandinavia. Very much appreciate that. William Stewart sent in a $20 super chat. Thanks for everyone for the condolences for my wife passing in my first super chat. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, William. My top 5 fun films in a crisis. 1, Armageddon. 2, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. 3, 2012. 4, Deep Impact. 5, The Day After Tomorrow. Be safe, everyone. William, you be safe, and my heart is with you, sir. Gershom Miranda sends in a super chat. Thank you, Gershom. Anonymous sends in a super chat, sends in a tip. David Phelps sends in a tip. Thank you all for sending in the support. Christy tipped $5. Have you watched Amazon's Modern Love? It's a great feel-good anthology series about all kinds of human love with a great cast like Anne Hathaway. Surprised that not many people are talking about it. A series I'm looking forward to is Defending Jacob. Trailer looks amazing. Defending Jacob looks really, really good. Can't wait to see it. I have not watched Modern Love, but I will check that out. Jedi Lori sends in a tip and says, so glad you're doing this. From a former voice opera coach, try not to use your voice this weekend. Take a break. You deserve it, and your vocal cords will need it. Robert Beveridge sent in a super chat and says, the greater good. Joe Siebert sent in, the greater good. Oh, wait, he says, the greater good. I guess you're saying the greater good. This is a little mixed up on this document. Joe Siebert sent in a $20 super chat and says, I want to take this opportunity to share my favorite Campea quote of all time. This from the Collider rant. I would take one Ken knapsack over for an army of dick zits any day. You're a hell of a guy, John. Keep it up. Poria sends in a tip. Just watched Birdman for the first time. One of the best movies I've ever seen. It's so good. I love Birdman. Drew H. sends in a super chat and says, Battle Royale is one of my favorite foreign movies. Do you think an American version could work considering it's similar to Hunger Games? I like the concept more because they all knew each other and many were friends. Drew, I adore Battle Royale. I think it's so great. I don't think that there's any way on God's green earth they could ever make it. They've tried to make an American remake of Battle Royale where you have teenage kids, 9th graders killing each other. I don't think it would ever happen here, but because they do it for real in school. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I do love Battle Royale. It's so good. Alejandra Pineda sends in a tip. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for doing this. My boyfriend got me hooked on watching Castlevania. So far, such a good show. Glad you like Castlevania. I've been working on, well, I can't say it, but anyway. Castlevania, good show. Anonymous sends in a tip. Thank you very much, Anonymous. Thanks for doing this, John. Keep it going. Antonio sent in a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, John, for everything you do. Been watching since the AMC days. Carlos Sosa sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I bought Marvel's Spider-Man Advanced Suit Hot Toys statue, yes, which will be releasing this fall. The recent Spider-Man game version, and I had to get it. You should check it out. Oh, it's awesome. Maxwell Bishop sends in a tip and says, unrelated topics. HBO's The Outsider, fantastic. Feel like Tony Ferguson may have dodged a bullet not having to fight Justin Gethe on short notice. Dude's a dog. I can't speak to that, but I did like your chat. That was very funny. The one who eats lemons sent in a super chat and says, I liked Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo very much, but since then he's been given little to no work. Do you think Solo hurt his career? Oh, I think Solo did hurt his career. I see that he's like in a new British series, which looks good. I'm glad he's working. I think he's a great actor, and I liked Solo, and I liked him as young Solo. James Wheeler sent in a super chat. Hi, John. Just want to give since I am still working. Good for you, sir. That is awesome. TLC in Arizona sends in a tip. Thank you, TLC, and thanks for the love. AT and J Van Wageningen send in a tip. Well, thank you, AT and J Van Wageningen. Wageningen. I probably messed it up. I apologize, but thank you. Thomas Montez sends in a super chat and says, hey, John, I rewatched a few movies I haven't seen in a while. Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop, Rush Hour, and Robin Hood, Men in Tights. I would take 3 of those and put one of them away. Go Tigers, tip $15. Dan Murrell is leaving Screen Junkies to start his own blog. Sound familiar? Thoughts? You know what? I think Dan Murrell's great. He's incredibly smart. He's incredibly talented. I'm a huge fan of what he's done. Look no further than his honest trailers of Star Trek The Next Generation. The man does the work. He's great. Mike Skogg sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I'd like to recommend Johnny Dangerously from 1984. Funny movie. It is a funny movie. I really like Johnny Dangerously. Man, I haven't seen it probably since 1984. Senior Film sends in a super chat. Love what you're doing here, John. I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you very much for that. Anthony Luculano sends in a super chat and says, are you sure AMC's HR department aren't in charge of your block's power? Yes, I love that John would like to replace AMC's entire HR department. I love it. Cesar Rivera sends in a tip and says, do you think Disney could ever buy the Sony Pictures division maybe in 20 years? I know it probably won't happen because Congress or something won't let it happen, but imagining Disney owning Sony Pictures and all the IPs and content they would own, I'm tired of losing studios. I want to see Sony become Columbia again and be autonomous. I don't want Disney to buy it. Zaya sent in a super chat and says, best Jamie Foxx performance, Collateral, his first Oscar nomination. Worst, Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Annie. Ooh. Yeah, you're probably right. Although, Jamie Foxx is a really good actor. I think he was just directed wrong in Spider-Man 2 I don't know. Initial D sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I've got some good news. I finally got over my addiction to chocolate, marshmallows, and nuts. It was a rocky road. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. Philly G sends in a tip and says, you rock, keep bringing the filthy. 50 Shades of Greek, or 50 Shades of Geek. Philly, you rock too, by the way. 50 Shades of Geek, which I apparently can't say, sends in a tip and says, I got to go to work right now, but on the bright side, you'll be here by the time I get back. Keep up the good work. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, hi, John. Congrats on the move to your way to Washington. What sports show do you watch to catch up on the latest sports news, like football news, basketball news, etc.? I do not have any idea. Sports Center? I don't know. Martha Gamer sends in a super chat and says, been a fan since AMC. Let's raise that money. I think we did. Rude Boy Fee sends in a nice super chat. Thank you. Or a nice tip. May God bless us all. Yes. Cody Corday sends in a tip and says, movie recommendations. The Ashton Kutcher Bernie Mac film Guess Who, Guy Ritchie film Revolver, and Jason Bateman film The Gift. And any recommendations on any good gangster mob movies I should watch that are not well known? King of New York. Abel Ferrara's King of New York. Watch that. Christopher Walken. I'm telling you, the cast, it's amazing. Check it out. Dumbledore Calrissian sends in a tip and says 4, 18, 15, 16, 23, and 42. Uh-huh. I know what you're doing there. Ethan's Tech World sent in a super chat and says, I sent the first time watches. I also saw I sent the first time watches. I also saw Shawshank Redemption for the first time. Well, how did you love it? Did it blow your mind? It's such a good movie. Jojo Giraffe sends in a tip and says, if you could see any already released movie in movie theaters again when they eventually reopen, what could it be? For me, it would be Dunkirk. That movie shook me to my core, and watching it in a theater is just something truly special. Stay healthy. I'd love to see Blade Runner 2049 at the Chinese theater again. I only saw it once, and they had it so loud. It was like one of the greatest just experiences in a movie theater, just experientially. It was amazing. Hung Flung Poo sends in a tip. Well, thank you, Hung Flung Poo. I hope you miss me. Heroes Fan Productions sent in a very nice super chat. Thank you so much. May the force be with those who need it most. Totally. Embrace Your Geekiness sends in a tip. And thank you. I will. I have my entire life. Fernando Alvarez sends in a tip and says, hey, John, love what you're doing for COVID-19 relief and hope you raise as much as possible for the people that really need it. I'm lucky as hell that my biggest issue at the moment is that I lost a remote to my home theater. So no movies till I get my replacement. Do you have a dog? I once lost a remote and I knew my dog took it and I found it destroyed out in the yard. I didn't blame the dog, though. Probably tasted good to him. Grand Moff Kevin sends in a tip and said, big thanks to the movie fan community. All the best in Anne's new adventure. I never know what question to ask. Fun fact, my dad named me Kevin after watching The Untouchables. Best Hollywood Kevin? Yeah, he's a pretty good Kevin. I love Kevin Costner. I always have. I'm a big fan, by the way, of The Postman. A lot of people aren't, but I am. Wave Wonder 1 sent in a super chat and said, a Spider-Man in Corona, New York City, NYC would be interesting. Corona, interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see Spider-Man in Corona NYC. It's not good. John Deep sent in a super chat. Thank you, John. Lucas Sonin sends in a tip. Hello from Toronto, John. You always say that while film is subjective. While I agree, I think there's a degree of objectivity to film as well. If there wasn't, then what would be the point of award shows such as the Oscars? I agree. It is the eternal debate John and I have had. I think there is objectivity in film and in any art, by the way. It's not just you, whether you like something or not, doesn't mean that something isn't good. I don't like the idea that people get to decide if something is good, it's inherently good, I think. Moon sends in a tip and says, if it's not canceled, I will be attending a con later this year featuring the 4 Hobbit actors. Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Billy Boyd, and Dominic Monaghan. My boyfriend will be getting their autographs, but isn't sure what he wants them to sign. Any suggestions? You know what? If you can find one of the great Lord of the Rings one-sheets, the original movie posters where Frodo has the ring and he's kind of looking up like this, that's a really great poster. I love it. Jer Mananen, hello, Jer, sent in a super chat and says, love your show. Best wishes to everyone from Finland. Play some World of Warcraft later. Also, Pride sequel? Any plans? Now would be a good time to write. I don't know. You should do that. Preston sends in a tip and said, I've been out of work for 2 months due to a broken foot, and you have got me through a lot of lonely days, so I thank you. Also know how difficult it is to be out of work financially. Hope everyone stays healthy. Congrats on your and Anne's future stay safe. Oh, I didn't read that very well. Let me try that again, Preston. I've been out of work for 2 months due to a broken foot. You've got me through a lot of lonely days, so I thank you. Also, I know how difficult it is to be out of work financially. Hope everyone stays healthy, and congrats on your and Anne's future. Stay safe. Well, thank you, Preston. Chris M. sends in a tip. Thank you, Chris. Loud and Swain. All right. Sends in a super chat. My 10 favorite films. Rushmore. Wait, I got to go backwards. Well, okay. Rushmore, A Hard Day's Night, Harold and Maude. These are good lists. Waiting for Guffman, Wet Hot American Summer, Ghost World, Amelie, Big, The Graduate, and Star Wars. Loudon, let me tell you, Amelie is one of my favorite films of all time. Love to see that on your list, and so is Harold and Maude. Well done. Triple J's thoughts tipped and said, here's my contribution to your wonderful work today and to those in need. I've been a long-time dedicated listener of yours for over 6 years. You're one hell of a guy with one heck of a team. I just watched Coming to America. Canadians singing postie. Hashtag Canadians singing postie. I don't know what that quite means, but I think it's awesome. 50 Shades of Geek sends in a tip and says, I hate the term guilty pleasure movie. I do too. I like what I like, and I don't care if other people don't. Right on. I don't think I should feel guilty for liking something. I know the prequels are terrible, but I love them regardless. No one can tell me otherwise. You know what? I think the prequels are bad movies, but kind of good Star Wars. Make of that what you will. Canada Rock sends in a super chat and says, JW, check out Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, which takes place during the 7-Year War. Barry Lyndon is one of my favorite movies. I'm right there with you. Thank you so much for that, Canada Rocks. And you rock. Suthius sends in a tip and says, just watched Deliverance for the first time yesterday. I liked it. Now, I ain't no film production expert, but I'm sure there were stunt doubles used for the main actors. If that's the case, that is very impressive on their part. All 4 guys were great. They are. Squeal like a pig. Yeah, I won't get into why, but those who've seen the movie know what I'm talking about. Morse Code Z tipped in, or Morse Codes, sends in a tip and says, just sending you in one of since you never got the one that paired with my number 2 the other day. Okay. Also, favorite musicals in no order. 1776, Prince of Egypt, Annie, Oliver, Hello Dolly, Sound of Music, Enchanted, and more. I like that list. Eric sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I've been a fan since the AMC Movie Talk days. I was just thinking back to the extreme excitement and hype the entire year of 2015 for The Force Awakens. Other than Infinity War and Endgame, I'm not sure we will see that again for some time. I agree with you. Maybe not ever. I don't know. Josie Review sends in a tip and says, best movie talk moment was when you made a joke about Bow Wow name change to Roar Roar when Roll Bounce turned 10. Thanks for changing my life in more ways than one for the past 5 years. Also, would the Olsen twins be as big as Elizabeth these days? I don't think so. I love Elizabeth Olsen. I don't think the Olsen twins, they made so much money as the Olsen twins. They can retire and enjoy their lives. Hunter Williams sends in a tip and says, thanks. By the way, I love Roll Bounce. Thanks for entertaining us all, John. Another movie trapped in development hell, Five Nights at Freddy's. Is this movie still happening? Good question. I haven't heard anything about that in a while. We shall see. Doesn't look good, though. George McGinnis sends in a tip. God bless John. I always say that every time he writes me a check at the end of the month. Matthew Medario sends in a super chat and says, hey, John, if theaters open by July, do you think Tenet's box office will still take a hit due to the general audience not feeling comfortable in returning back to theaters? Ooh, good question. I don't know. Eric Clausen sent in a super chat and said, I think people want to go back. I think people are going to go to the movies. I really do. I hope so. I just want to see the new James Bond movie, and I want to see Tenet. I don't know. We'll see. Eric Clausen sent in a super chat and says, save your voice, John. Thanks for doing this. Perry sends in a tip and says, I watched Molly's Game the other night. Really great film. Excited to see what Aaron Sorkin does next as a director. You know, I would like to see that too. And you know, at the beginning of Molly's Game, when she wipes out, man, that kills me every time. Christopher Chow sent in a super chat. Hey, John, congrats to Ann on the new position. When you guys make the move to Seattle, come visit Vancouver, BC. It's a 2.5-hour drive. Me, my wife, and my 8-month-old son are big fans of yours. Will you keep that 8-month-old son safe? And I will tell John to make that drive because the drive to Vancouver is lovely. And Vancouver itself is lovely. Jordan RTK sends in a super chat and says, been a fan since the Man of Steel review. Just wanted to send my support. Keep up the good work, John. Feel like I've known you for some time now. Laugh out loud. You do know him. You do. Matthew Williams sent in a super chat and says, you helped me through my addiction, paying it forward. Well, thank you, Matthew. I'm glad to see. I hope you're doing okay. JW Corbett 20 sends in a tip. Thank you for that, JW Corbett. Eat it or beat it. Tipped $50. You're a wonderful human being. Well, the question I want to know, did you eat it or did you beat it? I don't know. Joel Wagner sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I love your show. Keep up the great work. What did you think of Bird Box? I thought it was okay, and you did too. I thought it was okay. The way the flashbacks were set up made the movie... I was about to tell you my opinion. The way the flashbacks were set up made the movie predictable, and they also left too many things unexplained. I also look forward to seeing your doc. The doc's pretty good. I thought Bird Box... I read the book it was based on, and I thought the movie was just a little conventional. Major Tom sends in a tip and says, for the cause, question though, what's worse, hating a movie or TV series or being disappointed by them? For me, disappointment is worse because the TV series movies didn't reach the potential it should have. Hating is a pretty definite conclusion. You know what? I agree with you, Major Tom. 4, 3, 2, 1. I think you're right. Hating is a definite conclusion. I like that. For me, the final season of Game of Thrones was the most disappointing thing I saw last year. Mine too. I won't spoil anything, but I was so let down by how the whole thing concluded. It felt like they just wanted to finish it and be done. I agree 100%. It was so crushing. I mean, it also, for me, diminished the entire series as a whole. You'd think they would have stuck the landing. Zaya sends in a super chat and says, fan, what are the chances of you doing a few breakdancing moves today? John, not good. Fan, not good like 1 in 100? John, more like 1 in a million beat. Oh, so you're saying there's a chance? No chance. I wish there was. Mark Hansen sends in a super chat. I desperately want to see John breakdance. Mark Hansen sent in a super chat in memory of the great singer-songwriter John Prine and all others we've loved and lost during this pandemic. Thank you very much for that, Mark. He did have a nice life, but he still went too soon. HV3 sends in a tip and says, there's 2 main people I watch on YouTube, you and Harloff. What? I've been watching a lot of old Schmodown matches, and I love seeing you on the desk. I hope when things get back to normal-ish, we can see you announce a match again. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him announce a match again when one of my teammates from the Burning Droogs wins. Simon sends in a tip and says, Giovanni, I want to hear you play one of your favorite acoustic guitar songs. Please, also, if you had to serve under Captain Kirk, what position would you see yourself as? Sciences, engineering, medical, or security? You know, I would go sciences. I would go sciences because I want to participate in away missions and not have a red shirt, so I could probably come back from them not dead. Nate Dogg sends in a tip and says, thanks for helping out and raising all the money to help people in need. My brother and his wife have lost their jobs due to this pandemic, and it's a real struggle and concern for them to feed their families, so I think it's great you're doing this. Thanks. Tom Kirsten tips $10 and says, by the way, thank you, and I hope that your brother and his wife, it all works out for them. Tom Kierstead sends in a tip and says, did you ever get to watch Mark Hamill in Nightfall Season 2? I did not. He was great in it. I heard he was great in it. Thanks for all that you do. Stephen May sends in a tip and says, love the show. Well, thank you, Stephen. Appreciate that. Kate sends in a tip and says, hey, John, thanks for everything you're doing. My question is, what are a few of your favorite movies from the 2010s? If you can't tell, my favorite is Blade Runner 2049, but a few others are La La Land, Deathly Hallows Part 2, and The Martian. Oh, man, I love The Martian. I love Blade Runner 2049. I'll tell you a movie that I love that is unsung, that a lot of people don't like. The Counselor. Ridley Scott's The Counselor, but I love the director's cut better than the theatrical release version. So definitely. For Real B sends in a tip and says, thanks for doing this, John. Thank you. Canada Rocks sends in a super chat and says, Anthony Lugalano, check out the Canadian film Ginger Snaps, a really good werewolf movie. It is. I love Ginger Snaps. It is a really good werewolf movie. I second that opinion. But there's like 2 sequels. I have not seen those. I've only seen the first one. I hope it's good. You know what's another good movie I think that's Canadian? Is Stakeland. I think Stakeland. Is it Canadian? Maybe it is. If it's not, hey, it's still a great movie. Check out Stakeland and Stakeland 2. Jorge Lugo sent in a super chat and says, movie theater chain Cinépolis in Mexico has popcorn and other snacks available for Uber Eats delivery, and you get a free movie rental at their website. With each purchase, is AMC doing this? No, they are not, but they should. I think it's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, I'd like that. Well, I guess that brings me to the end. This is it. I've answered all the questions. This is it. I want to thank all of you for bearing with me and listening to me answer these questions. I want to thank you very much from the bottom of everyone's hearts at the John Campea Show for contributing. John's going to make sure that the money gets to this charity and all of your contributions are recognized. He's done a man's job, as Gaff said about Rick Deckard at the end of Blade Runner. You've done a man's job, sir. Too bad she won't live. But other people will live because of your generosity. So thank you very much. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for watching the John Campea Show and allowing me into your hearts along with John. So I appreciate that. I love doing the show. Hope to be doing it for a long time to come. Thank you so very much. And you can always find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work, and my daily show, Robservations, the show about something. Find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett. Find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. And if you go to the Facebook page, if you go to Facebook, there is a Post Geek Singularity Facebook page and a Whining About Movies Facebook page. I do a show called Whining About Movies with my girlfriend Elizabeth 3 nights a week, so check that out. And thank you all for supporting, and thank you all for continuing to bring the filthy wherever it may be. And from the bottom of all of our hearts, I say bye-bye. That's right. I don't know if I did that well. Bye-bye. I can't do it like John.